Spoiler warning, spoiler warning! This review is full of spoilers. Go watch the movie in theaters, the experience is great. There's also like gore and flashing lights and jump scares and all that junk.
This is Phantom Tax. First I got your brother, now I resume. Skibbity, my friend.
So everyone is acting like the Fnaf movie is the worst thing to grace their screens, but I'll be the first to say it. I love the Fnaf movie. I believe it's a genuinely good movie, but some of the things I like about it are probably not intentional on their part. But I'll get to that when I get to the story! Let's just start where the movie is strongest. The practicality of it all. There's extremely minimal digital effects or CGI. Although indie FNAF animations might as well be live action at this point. This movie has incredible fully realized sets, seen in the videos posted by Daco. You can see how crazy they went with the details. It has the dining area, kitchen, spare parts room, security office, hallways, supply closet. It's all there. I want this to be my house. I want to live here. As for the animatronics, don't be shy. Hand them over. I want a fresh slice of that Foxy animatronic right there. You know those animatronics made by Scare Factory back in 2015? When FNAF was real for the first time. These are like those, except they're powered by servos instead of pneumatics and way more accurate looking. Absolutely love the way they look. They nailed it. Little side tangent. Did you know those original animatronics are being sold on Facebook Marketplace right now? If I was a rich man and had $10,000, I would buy Freddy Fazbear, because that's the only one that matters to me. Because all the others look really bad. I'm sorry. Side tangent over. Anyways, people have been arguing whether they're people in costumes or animatronics, and let me settle this, they're both. You know those mascot costumes at Disney that can blink and talk, but there's still a person in there? That's what they also use in the FNAF movie, but only sometimes! Because whenever they're doing something that isn't walking or dancing, they have these super sweet full animatronics to be as authentic as possible. I love their dedication to the craft of animatronics. Foxy is the only one that doesn't have a wearable suit variant because he's just too skinnily built to look good with a person in it. Like, I mean, look at the legs. Let's be real. That means he's full animatronic 100% of the time in the movie. I think that's really cool. Also, for the people acting in the suits, they're actually good at moving like a robot, unlike Willy's Wonderland or the Banana Splits. Seriously, they must have filmed everything and then told the actors that they were supposed to be animatronics afterwards. Like, that immediately made it obvious they weren't really trying with that movie. Also, by the way, a lot of people see the Banana Splits and Willy's as the original things and acting as if FNAF is just the next thing in this trend of killer animatronics. But let me tell you now, Five Nights at Freddy's came first! It's been in production for 8 years, and these other two movies are likely byproduct of the many scrapped Five Nights at Freddy's movie scripts that Universal just wanted to use anyway. So among killer animatronic movies like these, FNAF should be held as royalty. I made you! Side tangent over. As for the Easter eggs, it's hard to tell what is and is not an Easter egg because they're literally in the game. It's like pointing out Freddy and going, "Hey, that's the bear from the first game!" There are more subtle references like "It's me" written on the mirror or Chica's Magic Rainbow. I'm gonna kill you! And some not so subtle community things like the newly canonized Sparky the dog, who used to just be a hoax with edited camera screenshots. And my pet was there too.
Lunch is the most important meal of the day. Thought it was breakfast.
Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch!
Apparently, Markiplier was supposed to be the security guard in the opening. That would have been awesome! But Mark was too busy filming his movie, The Iron Lung, at the same time that the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was doing their schedule. So unfortunately, the timing just didn't work out. But Scott Cawthon, the creator of the games, hopes to get him in the second movie. I'm already excited. I loved the Balloon Boy gag that happened 3 times. I looked forward to seeing his beautiful face the entire movie. Now, if they don't make a mass-produced figure of this thing that I could buy, then I'm gonna turn into Jumbo Josh. Wait a minute, isn't this a horror movie? I personally wouldn't call it that. Horror movies try to scare you above anything else. It's like its entire personality. This I would call a thriller, where it puts the story first and scares second. And that's kind of how I viewed FNAF in general anyways, so it's fitting in my opinion. Although since it's PG-13, it kills off screen a lot, which bothered me. But when it did show on-screen kills, they shocked me. Like, it felt like it was pushing the boundaries a little bit when it went all in. There's one where the cupcake mauls this guy's face, but it's funny at first, and it doesn't really hit until you see the aftermath later in the movie, where you could see his corpse on the ground with an unrecognizable torn up face. But there was one kill in particular that was very clearly the winner, and it's that one you've seen in the trailers where this random girl enters the spare parts room, sees Freddy standing there like he forgot what he was doing, and she does that horror movie thing where you get close to the obvious danger and a human hand reaches out at her from the mouth of Freddy. Now what the trailer didn't show, and I'm super glad it didn't show this, is that the hand grabs her, pulls her body halfway into Freddy's mouth, and then it closes on her, cutting her in half, letting her disembodied legs fall to the ground. Oh my goodness, that's gore. That's gore in my FNAF movie! What is happening right now? I'm not typically the guy who enjoys horror movies with a lot of gore and blood and junk, but this just makes me happy because FNAF being a kid's game is what it's been widely considered nowadays. It's like we've forgotten what it's really about. What makes it scary? It's become so mainstream and kid-friendly, Security Breach is not helping by the way, that I was worried that this movie would lose moments like this. That's why a lot of people wanted it to be rated R because longtime fans wanted to bring it back to its core. But I don't blame it for making it PG-13 because if we're being real with ourselves, the audience is largely kids, and if they wanted to be as successful as they could, they had to dial it back a bit. Which means a lot of off-screen deaths, but that's fine. Deep down, Five Nights at Freddy's is about extremely dark subjects, and it's only when you see scenes like this that you remember that. I'm fine with the minimal horror because I was 11 when I first got into Five Nights at Freddy's. I was a child fan when the first game came out, so it's understandable. Something about Five Nights at Freddy's is just inherently appealing to children. It's the way it is. So although the kills don't get a lot of on-screen action, when they do get around to it, they don't disappoint in my opinion. Now that we're about 6 minutes in, let's talk about the plot.
Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through.
This is Mike, and he's a security guard at a mall. And he sees a kid getting kidnapped, and he threw hands and lost his job because that was the kid's dad. Mike is taking care of his little sister since he's part of a broken family. You see, his brother was kidnapped in front of him when he was young, explaining his strong reaction towards kidnappers, I guess. He's dealing with an in-family kidnapping, though, because this aunt character is trying to take custody of his little sister, whose name is Abby, by the way. So to look good in front of a judge, he needs a job, and he settles for Frederick's tuna-flavored ice cream after a career counselor recommended this lovely establishment to him.
I can't do nights.
The evil aunt gets an autograph from MatPat Game Theory and plots Mike's downfall by hiring goons to smash the place during the day to make Mike look bad and lose his job. Wait a minute, when do the animatronics get into this?
Right now!
They see the messy guests and don't take it very well, throwing a rather large tantrum, leaving 4 dead. Mike doesn't get fired and he comes back with no bodies there but a huge mess still. The Faz gang have their priorities. He had to bring Abby this time because he felt like it and cleaned up the place before falling asleep. Abby goes and meets Freddy and the Fuzzy Bunch, and Mike freaks out about it because he's scared for Abby and is barely surprised that the animatronics can move on their own. Turns out the animatronics were just having a tickle fight with Abby, and the idea of the animatronics tickling someone is really funny to me. They are children possessing robots after all. Apparently they're cool with Abby and cool with Mike by association. Anyways, he clocks out and basically forgets they are alive and can move. Did I mention they're possessed by ghost children? Mike is coming to this revelation as he finds out that Abby can speak with them regularly. He wants to find out what happened to his kidnapped brother, so he tells Abby to ask the animatronics about it.
But not before they build an epic fort the next night!
The way they act here is super childish, which is fitting considering the characters. But the other night Freddy did this, so the tone shift is extremely jarring. Also, Bonnie comically falls over like a Looney Tunes character and then gives a thumbs up. This is hysterical. Vanessa, the police officer, who I've yet to mention because she hasn't been lore relevant until now, and was just a huge exposition dump. She encourages Abby to play with the animatronics, who she knows are capable of this, and it's like she forgot and then remembered that they're dangerous because later she says the most out of nowhere line in the whole movie that I find really funny now.
But if you ever bring Abby back here again, I will shoot you.
The next night, Mike talks to the souls of the animatronics in his dreams, but they want Abby, and he obviously says no. But they didn't like that very much, so this colorful cast of characters cause a workplace accident and put him in a saw trap. Mike narrowly escapes, and Vanessa patches him up, all while giving him a nice long lore dump as she does. In this universe, Vanessa is the daughter of William Afton, who is a kid killer at Freddy's who wears a yellow bunny suit to, you guessed it, kill kids. He stuffs their bodies into the animatronic suits where they are to this day. And while she herself is a cop, she doesn't give away his secrets because he's her dad, and all is forgiven. Abby is in obvious danger though. She's with her aunt, and Golden Freddy, who is an unexplained character, shows up to kidnap Abby and bring her to Freddy's, killing the aunt in the process, so the movie can forget she exists again. While Abby is about to be made into one of them, Mike the hero comes to save the day and electrocutes the animatronics, essentially stunning them. Then William Afton shows up in his old bunny suit because he felt like it, to help the animatronics kill Mike and Abby. Side note, what he's wearing is a spring-lock suit. That means it's a fully working, standalone animatronic at one time, and then it could be wound up to become a wearable suit. So all the animatronic parts are kind of like pulled off to the sides using springs to make room for the person wearing it. Although if it fails, then all the animatronic parts come back in and impale and kill the person inside. Anyways, he uses this to throw Mike around and deflect bullets from Vanessa, like some kind of Iron Man suit. All the animatronics are convinced that William Afton is their friend because there's a drawing on the wall depicting that. But Abby puts a new picture on the wall reminding them that William killed them. So during the fight, William kills Vanessa, the cupcake activates the spring locks, Mike and Abby escape with Vanessa's body while the animatronics pull away a dying William into the hidden room. Now after that night, they visit Vanessa in the hospital and stab her again. Then they eat spaghetti at home. Abby wants to visit the animatronics because they're lonely, but Mike wants to forget about the whole thing. Just like he forgot about the child corpses in them still, William is still there, and the aunt is still dead on their floor. But all that is small potatoes because they've got 13 more games to cover. All's well that ends decent, I suppose. Ew, who put a family drama in my FNAF movie soup? Wait a minute. It's always been a family drama. Except I think it wasn't handled very well here, but I did enjoy it more for the weird plot holes and pacing. It made for fantastic moments like this.
I will shoot you.
It's very fun to make fun of. I get Killer Clowns from Outer Space vibes from the cupcake, just the way it goes into creative mode sometimes. But I think the movie's strong moments are stronger than the weak moments are weak, leading me to believe it's an objectively good movie. It's alright. Now, if you watch it with friends, it's a great movie. And if you're someone like me who is totally biased towards Five Nights at Freddy's, you'll enjoy it no matter what it does. Doesn't matter if it's like a good or bad movie, as long as it's fun to watch. I would personally give it a 9 out of 10 since I'm a massive Five Nights at Freddy's nerd, and this movie has been in the back of my mind for the last 8 years. They say the movie's made for the fans. Even Jason Blum says, yeah, if other people like it, that's fine, but it's made for the fans. Which is understandably exciting for a lot of the fans of the series, but honestly, I would have preferred it be a bit more open, because it feels like a bit of an excuse to shrug off bad writing. Like, it just kind of expects you to know things about the series before watching, because it has a lot to explain, and it doesn't really bother with a lot of it. Plus, as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I'd love to have a better entry point into the series to show my non-FNAF-headed friends. But to be fair, it's way better than what we had before, which is a crazy amount of games with an incohesive story. Like, at least I was able to summarize this movie. I cannot explain the story of the games. And trust me, I've written a script, I've tried. Maybe all the plot holes and stuff aren't really plot holes, it'll just be explained in the next movie. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Maybe Vanessa was just possessed by a demon in that moment that made her say, I will shoot you. Holy crap, it's been 11 minutes. If you're still watching, what are you doing? Subscribe.